start off with Porta de Ferro. Now all you do to get to mezzo Porta de Ferro is you can step or not, as you wish, and the blade comes around to the center. Right in the middle, you should feel the impulse to rise up. That rising cut is called the sottani. Now from here, you've got an extremely effective attack to the hands, an incoming strike. So this is a nice all-around general position as well. It is not pulsativa because you don't have a lot of power from it, but you have a nice snappy cut, which that snappy strike will be very good against something small and delicate, like say a hand. So if somebody's stepping in, come on.
Straight up?
Yeah, I'm going to step off the line. That's kind of how you use it. Step off the line is strike a slight little cut. This is one of our basic drills, but it's also one of the ones in the confinement test. It's core. Once I've done this, I moved out of the way, cut to the hands, and of course, oh, my tip is on line. Might as well finish the fight like that. So there's two steps to it. But you can see that Sottani built up. And no matter what he does, you can just step in and strike very strongly with the forearm. And combine that with the slightly offline step, and then completely free. What's happening? That's really, really basic and really core. So you should feel that before the tournament's on. Just wham. And it doesn't do much. Just pull it up, right? And you can have either foot forward because you're in the middle. So good. You can stay in that guard, advancing or retreating as you like. But keep the point near the ground. The reason you want it near the ground is because you don't want your opponent to engage the point. And if you leave it up, you can get it. So keep it down. That's good. And you set your hips. That's right. You don't want to picture that cuts in the hands. That's good. Now, with the blade extended, we're in post along the long way. And put it right around our opponent's face. Boom. And don't lock your elbows up at any point during any of this stuff. It makes micro tears in the elbow, and you have to unbend them briefly before you can do another attack. That's not useful either. So you want to just slightly bend elbow. That's post along there. If you keep going up, oh look, I'm going to be in posted down. And depending on which shoulder, will depend on whether I'm in posted down a sinistra or whether I'm in posted down a regular. So we'll start off in Porta de Ferro Mezzana. Now just raise the blade up. Now you're in posta longa. Now just keep raising it up. Change your stance over so your weight is mostly on the back foot. And you're in posta donna. If you simply step, you're in posta donna sinistra. Now the nice thing about these guards is that if you start off in this guard and you cut, boom. I just cut through posta longa or struck through posta longa, and then the guard goes down to Porta de Ferro Mezzana. So you're starting in a guard, striking, coming down in a guard. I'm moving through postas at every point. And I know what can happen from those postas. So I'm starting off in Porta de Ferro Mezzana, striking right through Porta de Ferro, or posta longa, I'm sorry, and then bringing it up into posta donna. We haven't done posta donna, so let's do that one next. Posta donna, most of the weight on the back foot. Blade pretty much back or up or out. If it's out, you know the person standing next to you. Okay? And all you have to do is take a step and you're on the left side. Posta donna sinistra. Now, what do you think posta donna sinistra is good for? I'll show you a tricky thing just because it's fun. Sinistra is very good for countering posta donna. So if he comes up and posta donna, Alright, so he comes up and posta donna. I take sinistra. He attacks. I attack directly across it, displacing his weight, forcing it over this way, which puts him way out of the post, not even in one. And I'm all got the inside of the fight ready to play. That's the one major play we found in posta donna sinistra, is that any guard where your opponent's on this side. So if he's in, say, Porta de Ferro, and he strikes at me, the same thing will apply. It's just harder to get there. I'm inside of him and I can come across. So anything on that side, you can use these guards on the left side to get behind your opponent's blade. Always use like use dente chingada the same way. Typically, you want to match a high guard against a high guard or a low guard against a low guard. And that gets a little bit into what we're going to do next. But I want you to see that you're all coiled up on the left, and it feels really awkward. Well, yeah, it is a little awkward. But from there, it's a very, very easy counterattack, and it takes almost no skill and time to pull that off. So you'll find that's really useful. We're going to be doing those in a few minutes. So that gives you an idea of what that's used for. I'm trying to show you where these are. This one is used for if you're stepping and striking. No big deal. So let's go up into posta di dama. We're going to do a mezzo volta, and we're going to just basically strike through the posta longa. Ready, and mezzo volta. Boom. That's most of the strike right there. Now, be sure your elbows aren't locked. You have a little bit of flex in them, otherwise you're going to potentially tear little tendons and stuff there. You don't want that. Okay? And if you let the blade just fall, you're important for arm and thumb. So you can start to see how these things work together. Start, middle, and. Start, middle, and so on. You're always going to be striking from a posta, through other posta, and to another one. But you don't have to worry about the one you're striking through. Just go from one to one. Let's do dente chingala next, because it's usually the other side. Right foot forward, in mezzo per ferro. So the blade's out. Now, this one is in sabula. Because if your opponent crosses weapons with you down here, there's not much you can do about it. Never hold the position. It's hard to do. It's in stabula. Try to hold it. It's tough. Very difficult. See how unstable it really is. So you don't want blade crosses down here. Close in guard. Use it for countering wrestling and such. And I can be snug because I know what the line of attack is. Coming in this way, and they got to deal with my point. So therefore, I can give up a little bit of fluidity and those options in order to be straight up to keep this thing snugged in. Now this one is stabula, and you can feel live when you're in it. This is a really sexy little guard to start off with. The point should be threatening your opponent. Try to keep the point back near your shoe. Don't let it go out pretty far. Because you see it be very unstable if it went out far enough. Your blade's long. You need it to go out in the way. It's fine. The one thing you do not want to do is you don't want to have an error I call the flying boars. Because right now, if that point is pointed at your opponent, it is a threat. And it will stall your opponent coming forward with their thoughts of wrestling. You know they got to deal with the point. A flying boar's tooth does this. Well, it's not a threat. Not an issue at all. And if I were wrestling, I wouldn't worry about it. As soon as my opponent does that, I'm all over. On the flip side, of course, I will use that in an evil way to actually indicate that somebody won't come in otherwise. Oh, look how dumb I am. I don't know what I'm doing. And some people do fall for it. But I've also been caught doing that with somebody who didn't fall for it very fast. So keep that point in and pointed right at your opponent. Realize it's called the boar's tooth or the boar's tusk for a reason. How does a boar attack? Ugh. Right? That's what you're going to do with this. Simply strike upwards. You can get hands, you can get face, you get all kinds of nastiness in it. And it's very hard to counter. It's a very good position. There's a little bit of that lever motion that goes on as you throw this. And you throw it for whatever fleshy sort of target presents itself. Don't worry about it too much. You can also use it to displace their blade. Just the act of doing this will bounce them off to the side. Let's begin with Ellefante from. Let's go to here so she can. I'm just going to displace you by doing that. Even if I don't hit his hand, it simply comes up, I move him out of the way, I spend no effort on it, I let him go wherever he wants to go, and then I will finish. What I like. I'll show it to you again. So you don't have to necessarily finish the strike in the hand, you can also take their blade and move it away. But you notice it's pretty much the same motion that we're kind of roughly looking at for the satanic cut. Same thing. No difference. It's just that I'm attacking his blade now instead of attacking him.
But it's not a direct block.
Ooh, it's not a block. Fiore uses covers, which usually a block, and he uses displacement. If your guard is on the same side, this is a little bit advanced because it's tougher stuff. No matter where he is, take any right-sided guard. I don't care which way it is. I can take one on that side, and I can easily displace, no matter what he does. I can usually set up to displace and finish using that same technique. If I take a guard that's on the other side, I'm more likely to make cover or do a block. Right. And I'll do something from there, whatever the case, whatever is good. But use the same sides for displacement, opposite sides for block. That's the general principle. Of course, there are times to break that rule. But for the most part, same side displaces, opposite side blocks, or covers, as Fiore says. Okay, thanks. So we've got dented cinghiale on that side, which, remember, is simply Porta di Ferro picking up the sword on the left. That's all. It's the same thing. Extend the blade a little bit. Porta di Ferro mezzana. Take a step, front or back, and let the blade roll gently into Porta di Ferro. Remember on Porta di Ferro, true edge forward. The vast tendency of folks to do this. The reason I don't think that's right are three reasons. One, he doesn't show it that way. He shows it with the blade out. Two, because if you do it this way, the tendency is to false edge cut anyway. And although the blade does have two edges, Fiore says that anything coming from the Mandrito side is a true edge cut. So you're supposed to cut with this edge anyway. And it's more efficient because you don't have to do any funny little roll or anything. There you go. Just send it off. All right. So now we've got all the guards on the lower side. Porta di Ferro. Just move the blade out. Porta di Ferro mezzana. Take a step. You're still in Porta di Ferro mezzana. Snug it up a little bit. Dented cinghiale. Wars two. So Porta di Ferro mezzana. Porta di Ferro. And then if you want to add one more, put it back. It's quote along in the States. Now, Fiore likes tail guard one sense. He said basically it does everything Poste does, but it does a little slower. But it also hides the blade from your opponent. When you're in coda longa, usually that's the other time you go a little bit more linear. And you just hide it. Don't let him see it. Look, where is it? Look. Now, in point of fact, you pretty much know where it is. But it still takes a long time to get away from you. I use this as an invitation as well. I'll move in a little closer. It's like, look how dumb I am. My arm is way out there. Come on, do something. Attack me. And it'll sometimes work. You have to remember, though, how far back you really are. Person's fast, they'll come forward. Okay. So, we go coming from the back. Coda longa, Porta di Ferro, Porta di Ferro mezzana, either leg forward, and dented cinghiale. Now, it's important on these. The tendency is to lean forward on dented cinghiale. Try to maintain that upright stance. That's difficult to do, but try to get it. I even lean a little bit too much on that one. So now you've got the low line. So go ahead and take Porta di Ferro mezzana with the right foot forward. Okay. Now take a passing step. So you should be Porta di Ferro mezzana with the left leg forward. Keep that tip down, so you don't want to engage. It doesn't seem like it's an issue now. There will be once you cross blades with somebody. Okay, good. Now, move to Porta di Ferro. Gently move it over. Make sure that true edge is forward, not flat forward. You will have to adjust where your hand sits to get there. Otherwise, you will want to sit there. So you just let your left hand actually take and move that a little bit. So just adjust a little tiny bit so you've got it where it needs to go. Remember, your left hand does little adjustments and stuff. Your right hand is really what's holding on to it. And with a little bit of practice, you can get that. Remember also, it's two fingers pretty much, not the whole hand gripping everything. Okay. Now from there, all you have to do is take a passing step forward and transition to Porta di Ferro mezzana. That should become fairly natural. Good. Good. Okay, now how about Vicky? Okay. Good. Okay. Now, because your right leg is forward, you can either stay here or you can snug it up to dented cinghiale. When would you snug up to dented cinghiale, do you think? If I'm going to close and do gioco ferro with you, what it does is it gives you that point and says, oh, okay, I'm sure you might be able to deal with it before you get in. Not so here. Here you don't get to touch until you're too close to make a difference. And so you'll find, if you find your opponent's getting ready to start coming, you adopt this, they'll suddenly stop all thoughts of closing the trigger until they deal with that later. So it's a very useful little place to be. Boar's tooth, dented GI. And where would you attack? Where would you attack that? Okay, that's good. And in most cases, although we haven't covered this yet, you want to take a step as you attack. There you go. It should feel very solid. Now look, with the blade up like this, that's great. All you need to do is turn it. You're in posta frontale. Yet another posta transition. Posta frontale is the place we make cover from. I might as well introduce it here because you're there. With that in front of you just like this, you'll see that it actually does stop attacks from either side. You want to keep the point oriented in the center, and you'll gently move it from side to side depending upon which way it's coming in. Don't let the point oscillate. This stays. So if I use this as my center marker, loop, loop, you want to work from that side and make sure they get that down. Okay, what's going to happen here is, as I go in frontale, believe it or not, it will cover you. It's a real tiny bit. It's a lot less than you think. And it should be fairly close to you. Now, if you have the blade going up, it's very close to what the Germans call crown. In that case, you're generally going to close to wrestle with someone, which would be what I prefer you did. Because what happens is, wrestling up and down and creeping up from Dante, I'll show them two differences. And there are two different ways you can execute this. The base one that we did is if you're going to close. My point is up. I've snugged him in at the tutu spot, which is the place where you've got this X here. Now I've really got a lot of control over what's going on. All you have to do is move up to a little bit and control everything. And I'm probably going to wrestle with that. So if I want to keep him at a little bit further distance, I simply keep the point lower, but it's still frontale. Now if I keep him off the line here, he comes in and finishes all in one motion and finishes across the distance. So you can do frontality anywhere from up here and snug him in close to having the point a bit further away where you want to keep the point on the line. Of course, out here it's sort of between the ball gut. You got to be careful. It's much more instability out there than it is in here. But there's time to use it. The guy's going to come in, he's going to make his attack, and I want to thrust. Got it off. I simply finish out. And that's all done in one smooth motion. So you can practice it that way. If I want to wrestle with him, then I close it up and I put the point in. And we go ahead and play. Now, that works on both sides. If he gives me reversos, just give me a few minutes to reverse those. Reverse. I use the same exact play. Nothing's changed. It's just that it's on the other side. The point is still towards the center of my body. All I do is cast the base out a little tiny bit. And it does not have to be much. You're using the cross here as part of the defense. It's a little bit, it's up, and it moves out there. Once I've got it in control here, this is a very strong position. I can do anything I like at this point. And there's not much you can do with it. We'll do a couple fun plays at the end to do that, just so you can see where it's going. But generally speaking, up here for close play, down a little bit further for long play. That's how we're going to do it. And you'll see that you'll feel. You can move this way a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Even if I come from either side, that's good. And then you can drop this very rapidly. Thrust. And if you're coming in close, just keep the blade up. That's it. There you go. So frontale is up there, and you keep it as close to you as is feasible, because the closer it is to you, the more leverage you have. So, good.
Brian, you want me to work with you for it?
Yeah. And then keep this. Let's see. Believe it or not, very small motion. So we'll end up doing some defensive build there. Keep that tip over the center of the body, as if it was a string in front, and it's putting it on the tip. Leg block. I'll show you just briefly how you defend the leg, just to get an idea where it's going. If I've got my leg outside, it's a simple matter of geometry to slip that leg a little bit and strike for something that's close. In this case, his hands are always in there. And fighting in an SCA context, for example, or a tournament, another sort where hands are not a target, no biggie. Forearms are still there. Doesn't make a bit of difference, doesn't change the system at all. And sometimes, depending on how it works, I might even be able to get the head out. Probably going to lose this leg though. So I would generally go for these arms first. Because once the arms are struck, they'll stop, and I can take whatever I like after that. No reason to stretch for the other thing and give up the leg. Remember, you don't want double hits if you're using a sharp leg. So that's why there's no leg block per se. And at the end, we'll work on this play. But I just want to show it to you so you know those two things are how you make cover on the whole body. The other thing you'll do, as I showed you, is the flip and the displacements. We do that right at the end of class. But that's all for defense. Okay, so now we've already got Coda Longa, Porta de Ferro, Porta de Ferro Mezzana. With your foot forward, Dente di Cinghiale. Now, go back to Mezzo Porta de Ferro. Simply raise the point up so the hands are at waist high. This should feel familiar to any Aido people or anything else. This is where most people on the planet fight with two-handed sword. Now, counterintuitively, Fiore says, this is not a very good guard to defend from. Okay, well, most sword guards use it, so why is that the case? It's the case because if he gives me posta brava, there are many, many cross sword plays, which is most of Fiore's treatise, to tell you what to do when you cross swords. Somebody that's giving you posta brava is offering you cross swords. So if he gives me firm pressure, I just come around the other side. If he doesn't give me any pressure, I simply drive through it and get him anyway. Either way, he's giving me the information by giving me that contact. So the only time Fiore likes you to use posta brava is if you're in armor. Because he says you can't actually strike from posta brava. All you can do is thrust. And it's true. I can't strike from here. You might think you can, but you're not. All you're doing is going to another guard first. Then you're striking. So really, all you can do is thrust. And if I know he can thrust from posta brava, go to brava, and he thrusts, it's really not a big deal. It doesn't mean, because I know it's coming. I've had a half an hour to think about it. So it isn't an issue. Now, the one time you do want to use it is let's suppose we're in armor. Because in armor, even if I bash him in the head, I haven't ended the fight. Now, it's a fine tournament thing. But if I really want to end the fight, then what I can do is I can take posta brava, and I can go to grab the sword at the mezzo spada, and I can make it a short, vicious axe. And we can play with it that way. So it's good for thrusting in armor, because it doesn't matter that he might hit me otherwise. And if he thrusts, so what? He's pretty far away. The armor will probably catch him. So you're not worried about it then. But you do get a lot of control out of it. The other reason he doesn't like it is because it gives you the point for wrestling. He just takes that guard, and I go up to it for a moment. It's perfectly okay in all medieval treatises to reach out and grab the weapon. So another thing you're doing is you're offering that weapon. It's like, so when I see this, and you'll see all kinds of places on the web, they've got their video and stuff, where you see people training the posta, and then when you see them fight, both combatants square off in posta brava. It's like, well, that means you haven't integrated enough. Because if you had integrated enough, you know that all I need to do is finish the fight this way. Or I might just close in and play with him that way. All of the cross sword plays, the next module, the gioco largo and the gioco stretto, the close play, all rely on some sort of cross swords. So in the beginning, it'll seem to work pretty well. Because yeah, he can cover from there. That's no problem. But I would be stupid to simply attack this over and over and over when there's a billion other things I can do. Now you get that result in a lot of, like the SCA or other places where they fight tournaments, because I can't wrestle. I can't grab the blade. So yeah, it worked great. In most Oriental martial arts where they're fighting this way, there's also not a huge wrestling component. So it's not an issue also. And I could grab the back of the katana, for example. That is done. But you're designed for speed. This is more of a transitional to armored art. So don't go to brava very much. Only use it in armor. But it is one of the posta. So we just put it on the list and then file it away. One of the modules that we have for the gioco largo is practicing all of the cross sword plays against somebody that's doing posta brava, because you're going to see them tournament field all the time. And it's really lovely. You learn to really like it when your opponent takes brava against you. But I don't want us to practice it. Okay, brava, then just extend, and you're in posta longa. Now remember we said there's two kinds of posta longa. Make it right at your opponent's throat. The first kind is where you've got the left leg forward. That's useful as a defensive measure. Fiore says that posta longa breaks all other guards by her deception. What he means by that is that if I've got this thing out there, it's a very simple matter to change my line, just like you do in rape or anything else, and break whatever it is, and force them to respond. But if I've got my left leg forward, I can still thrust. with a passing step. Keep in mind, with all attacks, we're going to, well, 99% of the time, we're going to step with a passing step or really a mezzo volte as we strike. So start off in posta longa, left foot forward. Now just take a passing step with the right foot. And there, you've made a thrust. Boom. Not a very powerful thrust. Posta longa is not powerful. But posta longa will break any other posta. Remember, by breaking, you want to force your opponent to come out of the comfort zone where they were, or to abort whatever the action is they were starting to attack you. Posta longa can always be used that way. Doesn't matter what guard wrestles in. By your posta longa, he's got to address it before he can attack you. Now, it's weak. And how would you suppose you can attack posta longa?
Back blade aside.
Just knock it out. There, for crying out loud. Just like we discussed with posta brava, right? The blade is there and giving you encruzada. Now, it's deceptive, unlike brava. So he can try that. And frequently, opponents will use that. You know, when you can't get anybody to do anything, you'll force them out of that comfort zone and then come in and do something with it. Because you're out here, a little deception, and then you finish. Very, very easy to do. So practice your longa on the left. That's how you should usually do it when you're defensive. When you make the thrust, however, you're stepping forwards. Otherwise, you don't have any juice. You try and just, some people will attempt to take the thrust and lunge. There's nothing in that. You'd never make it. You've got two hands on it in minute one. You want to actually do a passing step of what's really a mezzo volte because you're changing your hips as you step. So you're supposed to long on the left and step. Now, of course, as I just did, I did it directly to the opponent. You really want to do an offline step for the most part. And then a little adjust. That will have, you have to drill that because it takes a long time to get that in.
Does Fiore do if your right foot forward? An actual? Not at all. I didn't.
Well, know that most of this core stuff is never called out in Fiore. It all has to be read between the lines.
Okay.
But I noticed that whenever Fiore finishes, the right foot is forward. The left foot is never forward. So I will typically, that's why I teach you to start off with the left foot forward, and then, if you're going to do it, go into the right. Now, in posta longa, you're going through posta longa every time you make a posta transition, with a cut or with a strike. I start off in the corner of the ferro, pick my direction, I go through longa, right there, and then it comes down quarter ferro on its own. So you're passing, every guard transition pretty much passes through longa. All the attacking ones pass through posta longa. Okay, what are you working on now? Let's do, let's do very briefly, let's do by corner. I'm not going to use this very much. I'll try to have you guys figure out why it's used. You're in posta longa. Simply draw it forward and let your left hand come off the palm. Point it right at your opponent. That's by corner. What would you use that for, do you think? Pretty much. Not wrong. What else? Stop thrust, yeah. You're basically using it just like you use posta longa, but when there isn't enough room. So you'd like, if someone's running in on you and you can get posta longa, great. But let's suppose you haven't quite timed this right. Then you can use by corner as a last ditch thing. You suppose that's pulsativa, stabile, or instabile? It's not as instabile as that. This is not a place you want to hang out. This is a very momentary thing that you do when you go on to something else. All of the instabile guards are ones in transition. You don't hang out in posta longa either. We know why, because you offer the blade. You could hang out for the barrel, for a crown and something.
For purposes of keeping your wrist straight and the grip strong, then would this be a correct way to hold
No,
it?
it's shown that way in one of the manuscripts. It doesn't make any difference so long as you don't cross your hands. There's only one guard where Fiore crosses his hands. Now the Germans cross their hands all the time. But the Italians don't. So you get only one instance in the Italian. So that's by corner. We're not going to use it very much because you won't actually, it's down the road. Usually you start using it when you start at the close play, so the shadow, and your opponent closes to wrestling, you cannot get to them, which you guys do. Oftentimes you just go into this, no stops at wrestling. But if you don't stop them, it gets very ugly very fast. All you do is reach down the sword and right out of your hands. Very embarrassing. It's happened to me, so I've seen it. Okay, from there, let's go to posta longa. If you simply roll so the blade is along your face, Nearly posta finestra. Now, this is not quite the German guard aux. In aux, the guard is above your head and the hilt is downward across your body, covering your whole body from above. Fiore would call that instabile. Now, you notice, if you look up at your hands, you've got them behind your head. Look up at your wrists. Look, they're crossed. This is the one exception. Now, of course, because of this, it's instabile. So you don't want to hang out there very long. What are you supposed to use this for? What's that?
Thrust.
Yeah, well, that's not the answer. That's correct. That's pretty much what you get out of this thrust. Is that?
Protect your head.
You might think that. It's not actually cover. You actually use it counterintuitively enough for displacement. When we first started doing this, we thought it was a cover too. And we worked under the assumption for a long time it was a cover. The problem is, when I did it as a cover, it didn't really say work. If I tried it as a cover, so give me a Fendante, what happened was, I would blow up into this thing, and he'd come right through it anyway, and blast it. Now, if I did it like aux, I could step into him at the same time. But that's not what Fiore does, not how he looks. His weight's on the back foot, so he's not forward like you'd be in the German systems. It turns out to be much more interesting than that. Actually, what it is he gives me a Fendante. It's a displacement. Now, the fight has changed for him a little bit. Now his blade is now digging into the floor nicely, and yes, he can sotani back, but before he can do that, I'm not going to stay here. It's instabile for crying out loud. The very next thing that's going to happen, I'm going to make him attempt to eat the blade. If that fails and it misses, I'm going to close the vessel before he can do something. So you're using it as a displacement. Most of the instabile ones you're not going to use to make cover, except for frontalis. And that's because it's so close. You're just going to slide right by, and then immediately come over. Remember we said on those steps, forward and back, which one the end ball of the foot? If you have made that tornado step backwards, and you're on your heel, guess what? You don't have time to come forward before you can get the signal. And so it doesn't work. So it becomes very, very important that you're on the ball of your foot and you come right back. Now that being said, fenestra I consider an advanced defense because it's difficult to get that timing right. Very, very tough. So we hit on it here, and then we kind of toss it until we're ready to class. Just so you've seen it. Now, there's fenestra on both sides. You simply step forward and go right into it on the other side. And you want it so that the blade is, you're looking right down the blade, right at your opponent's face. Nope, not crossing your side. I'm not going to do too much speaking on this one, just so you've seen it, because it is one of the posta. And we do use it, just not right now, because it's not involved in the basic cuts or defenses. So you've got fenestra on both sides, right? Left, and fenestra on the right is the only time to hand across. Okay, fenestra, go.